Hey everybody, Ryan Chichak here with Databricks. And today I want to talk about a new application, a Databricks app that I built called Genie IQ. And the idea with Genie IQ is you want to get the best answers from Genie and your data. And the best way to do that is today you can just, before Genie IQ, you can read documentation, understand how to better provide the best context to Genie to answer your questions. But in working with customers, what I see is sometimes reading documentation is difficult. It takes a lot of time and understanding. Therefore, if you have a solution built into Databricks like Genie IQ, you can quickly scan all your Genie spaces and you can get a score based off of the best practices. And that score is going to give you an evaluation of how accurate your answers are that you're going to get from Genie. And the great thing about this is this tool is it's going to help you quickly get a solution to get the best answers. And when I say get the best answers, this is the architecture. Basically, it's using a bunch of different services inside of Databricks. The big ones I want to call out is the Databricks Assistant, the agent feature. Basically, when you have a Genie space and you have a score assigned to you, in this case, I have a workspace that has a score of 100, which is the highest you can possibly get, 0 being the lowest score. And when you have 100, you can't get better because you're following the entire rubric of this tool, Genie IQ. But the idea is if you don't have 100, as we're going to go through, you can generate a notebook, and this notebook is going to provide context to the Databricks agent to provide solutions on each one of these categorical breakdowns. Therefore, this kind of solves your Genie space for you based off of your data without you being an expert at AI, BI, Genie. That's the whole idea with intelligent applications that you can build today. They should be so intelligent, they can do it for you. And that's what I'm going to show today. By adding a Genie space together, we're going to have a low score, and then we're going to build it up using the create fixed notebook feature. And also one of the things I want to call out before we get into that is that we're also using Lakebase. So Postgres here is storing all the historical scores. Earlier today, I was running this, as you can see earlier in the day. I had an 85 score, and then eventually I got to 100. And you can see that the way that we're looking at this, when you get a score, you have a category, whether you're optimized, if you're over 75, you're maturing, if you're between 50 and 74, or you're emerging or you need work if you're under 50. And the thing that I notice with customers or people just using Genie in general is not everyone is an expert. It's so easy to create a space, but it's not simple to get the best answer. And that's the whole purpose of this tool, is to make that piece simple. And anybody can install this in any of your workspaces. The idea is it's super simple. You just run one bash script, it installs, and then it gives you a score once you scan your space. And in this workspace, you can see I have a little bit over 2,700 Genie spaces, where this tool can go to very, very high number of spaces. As you can see, it's easy to scan. You can star your favorite space. And the thing that I want to really focus on is the categorical breakdowns of foundation, data setup, SQL assets, and then the optimization. And you can see that there's a score assigned to each of these pieces. And the foundation's really focusing on SQL and the best text instructions that you're providing to the AI of Genie. And then the data setup is exactly what it sounds like. We're looking for some kind of a join defined between the data tables that you're adding. Five or more sample questions, meaning that if a user comes into your Genie space, what kind of answers can they look for? What kind of questions can they look for to get answered? And then, of course, do your tables and keys have descriptions and your column keys? And this is not a Unity catalog description for the tables and the columns. This is a Genie specific description and columns. People don't usually add these things, and these things are important to provide the AI of Genie to get the best context. Just like any AI, any LLM out there, the more context you provide, the better answer you're going to get. Then we have the third SQL asset, and that is the SQL expressions. You can have measurements, dimensions, filters. We'll get into all this when we build a Genie space together, have a low score. We're going to improve the score together. And then we have the 3 trusted SQL queries. This is where you are providing questions and then SQL answers, where Genie is learning from your data and it understands what your data is, how to answer the actual questions based on your context, as we already talked about. And then finally, within SQL assets, you can have more than 5 sample questions before. If you get over 10 sample questions, that's really the sweet spot here to maximize your score. Optimization's the last breakdown category. Feedback collection enabled. It is by default, at least it was in my workspace. This is going to get 5. And then more SQL expressions, trusted SQL queries, those question answers. The very last thing we look at is the description of the documents or the description of your space in general. That has to be provided as well. And this is going to automatically go through each of these and give you a score. And the thing that I love the most, as I said before, is that we're using the agent AI assistant inside of Databricks to actually answer these, as we're going to see. Because again, I can go through many pages of documentation. I can read documentation. I can try to understand it. I can open my data and try to understand it better. Or I can save a lot of time and have the agent try it. And usually what the agent does is going to be exponentially better than what's default out of the box. What I'm going to do, you can see there are different ways to look at this view as we talk about in the architecture. The idea of this app is you have Node.js in the back end, and then you have React in the front end. And the idea is you have an owner view of all the different spaces that that owner has that they can star, or you can have an admin view. And if you're an admin, as I am, you can see the views that need attention. These views have that 5 points because it's providing feedback out of the box. But you also have spaces that have that are healthy. But as an admin, it's important to focus on these critical spaces and work with whoever the owner is to increase the score so that they're getting better answers. All right, now let's do this together. I have my workspace. I have my Genie space here, but let's create a new Genie space together. The first thing I'm going to do here inside of Databricks is I'm going to click New, and then I create some flights data. And the flights data I have is public domain. It's flights between 1987 and 2008. And I'm going to take these 3 tables, flights, carriers, and airports, and I'm going to add these to my Genie space. And I'm going to name my Genie space. I'm going to call this flights analysis. And I'm going to star this. And this is brand new. Well, if we go into our spaces here, and if I refresh here, and the first thing is since this space is brand new, it hasn't been scored. You actually have to click on scan all, which is going to scan nearly 3,000 spaces. But if you have a brand new space like we have, which is, I want to say it's flights. We have flights. We're going to search that new space. And you can see flight analysis. This is unscanned because we just added it. And you can see when we came into it, it just scanned. And you can see we have a 20 score. And if we go of how this is evaluated, So the thing we have working for us is we have a serverless warehouse with headroom, meaning that we're going to be able to scale up if we get questions. We're going to ask the questions. That text is going to be converted to SQL, and we want to make sure that there's a serverless warehouse that can address the demand of those questions. And what better than a serverless warehouse with headroom, meaning that it can scale up if it's being shared across multiple services. This is what this calculation looks for. Then we have the sizing of the warehouse. In this case, we just want to go larger than extra small or extra small. And that's what we're going to look for here. In this case, I think this warehouse, let's actually look. If we look at the configuration here of the settings, this is a shared warehouse that's extra large. We meet those two criteria, which is how we get those 15 points. But we're only passing 2 out of 4, and we can do things better. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to click on the Create Fixed Notebook, and that's exactly what this did. This is going to create this new notebook that we can follow, and we can use the agent feature to actually solve these problems. And you can see we have a current score of 20 out of 100, which is not great, but that is exactly what Genie IQ does, is it helps assist us in solving this. And you can see right now I'm using the agent mode inside of AI Assistant. The very first cell here, I'm going to run this. This is going to look at my workspace host, my token, so I don't have to deal with any of the authentication or authorization myself. It's going to pull in all that stuff for me. It's going to pull in all the tables I'm using. I'm going to let that run. And basically the results are going to be, we have 3 tables in our flights analysis Genie Space. And then these are the criteria that we were just going through. And this is going to go through each of the pieces that we can improve on. The first one is the text instructions. And the instructions are lean, meaning there's not too much wording. And let's just run this first cell. And you can see exactly where I'm going with this for this lean, and also just the text instructions that Genie has for those contexts. I'm going to run this, and you can see this is what we're going to pass to the agent. And the agent is going to provide, so this is what it's saying, using airports, carriers, and flights. And it's going to give us the best answer based off of this data. Please provide the best text instructions that are under 500 characters based off of the data tables, and that's exactly what it's going to do right now. And you can see it's analyzing the actual, those 3 tables that we have, where it understands the structure of the data, how the data is related, how it's the whole purpose of the space. Wonderful. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to copy these instructions back to our space. And here is the instructions. And we're going to make these instructions lean. All right. Now we're going to go to the next piece. And actually, before I do that, let's scan again to make sure that what we just did to improve the text instructions have actually been met. And you can see they were. So we just got an extra 15 points. And that's 15 points higher than we were before. So we went from emerging to developing. If we click the score, you can see we are already improving, where we were 20 a second ago, and now we're 35 with a net change of 15. All this history is being stored inside of Lakebase. Now we'll go to the next piece for the at least one join defined, which is going to give us 5 more points. If I click this cell is actually going to tell the agent exactly what to do. All right. And we just copy and paste that into the agent. And the agent is going to give us a join that we can add. And it's going to tell us exactly how to add that for us. And what we can do right now to just make this a little bit simpler is we can actually open up the agent feature inside of our Genie Space, where we can kind of take the answer that the agent does, and then we can just copy and paste it. If we look at the joins piece, this is where we're going to add at least one join to meet the criteria of this ask. All right. So it has a bunch of different join options that we can do. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add the 3 or the 4 different join solutions that it's recommending. Because again, it's looking at the 3 tables. It's telling us what patterns to avoid, what patterns to go after. It understands our data. The first one I'm going to do is flights to carriers. You can see a left, right, join, and then we're going to do many to one. And as I said before, the answer is just going to come in here where I can just copy and paste it. Super simple. We're going to have to keep going between different screens, which I love. All right, here we go. We're going to add this. The left table is going to be flights. The right table is going to be carriers. The join key you can see is going to be unique carrier for flights. All right. Unique carrier. And then for the carriers itself, it's going to be code. It's going to be a many to one. And then if we want to add exactly what that relationship is, you can see here, it is some flight type carriers. Let's see. Then we're going to do the second one, flights to airports. All right, we're going to do flights to airports. Then we're going to add, we're going to do origin. All right. To the IATA. Then this is going to be a many to one. Wonderful. And then we're going to add a third join, and that's going to be flights to airports. Flights to airports. We're going to do the join condition. We're going to do that on destination. And then IATA. And then this is going to be a many to one again. All right. And then the step 4. All right. We have these different joins, and it's giving us instructions on what to do here. All right. And let's add these instructions. Well, I guess we don't have to here because these are just telling us what we already defined here. And if we do a scan again, we would hope that we're going to get at least one join definition down, which we did. And we're going to be looking for more in the future, but we'll get to that point later. Next, we're going to get 5+ sample questions. What we're going to have to do here is we're just going to go to the next one, 5 sample questions, again, based off of what the agent finds. And we're just going to copy and paste this into the agent. And you can see the important context. These are sample questions shown to the Genie UI and setting sample questions. I can do that right now if I go into settings, and then here are the sample questions. And it's important to click on save. It's easy to add these and forget to click on save. They will not be saved. Pretty annoying, but that's happened to me before. All right, we're going to add these multiple sample questions. I think I'm going to probably add 10. Therefore, I can get both of those. I can get the 5 and then the 10 questions, so I can get both of those criteria solved right off the bat. I'm going to go into here and just copy and paste. And you can see I'm just going to start adding these. Add. And believe me, if I had a way for the agent to do this for me, I would opt into that. And that is something as this is a public repo. And I plan as the API gets better, as things just evolve, you can bet I'm going to be making this better, where we can take away as much manual effort from the end user as possible to really make the agent do the best of its ability and save the end user time. Okay, we're going to save this, and then we're going to go back to scoring. You can see 5 sample questions. Not giving us, okay, so we just got the 5 and we got the 10. We're really increasing our score, as you can see here. You can see we're iterating through increasing our score. All right, now what's the next? Tables have descriptions, columns have descriptions. And I'm going to get to that piece here. All right, columns have descriptions. All right, we're going to copy and paste this as we have been. And again, the agent inside of Databricks is doing the heavy lifting for me. All I'm doing is running cells in a notebook and copying, pasting into the agent. Couldn't it be any simpler? I don't have to be a Genie expert. I don't have to be a Databricks expert. Hell, I don't even have to know everything about AI. All I'm doing is using the tool set that's available to me to make it as simple as possible. All right, now we're going to add these descriptions into Genie for each of these tables. All right, the way that we're going to do this, it gives us instructions how to do this. It tells us exactly if it's a fact table, if it's a dimension table. It tells us all these things. This could be a lot of data, but all you have to do is follow the instructions to solve these the criteria to make the Genie answers better. So I go to configure here, and I go to data and descriptions. The first thing I'm going to do is add column descriptions. All right. All right. I'm going to focus on the actual, you can see there's a lot of columns here. So this is going to be a lot of copying and pasting. It looks like I skipped the table description. I went straight to the columns, which is fine. I can just go back up to that cell and run it. But I'm going to go through this right now, and you can see airports is first. And then I'm just going to add a description for each of these columns. You can see that this is the IATA is the primary key. The airport. City. And this context is everything for Genie. If you don't provide this context, your answers, as we talked about earlier, state, are not going to be as helpful to you. Airport, latitude, longitude, and then longitude. All right, we're done with flights, or we're done with airports. Now we're going to go to carriers. There's only a couple there. Here is carriers, the code. You can see primary key, right? And then description. Perfect. And then finally, we have the fact table, which is flights. I think that has over 100 million rows in it. We're going to go through each of these and we're just going to copy and paste as we have been. And there's quite a lot to click on here. This is some busy work, but this is better than me going through this myself and spending an X amount of hours. It's great to verify this and to validate it, but if we can use AI to help us do this for us, then why not? Flight number. Let's see. Tail number. We're almost done with this. Elapsed time. Metric. Foreign keys for the destination. The very last column is the distance. All right, we're done there. And then I will go and I will rescan. And this is going to give me the columns have descriptions, but not the table having a description, which is simple. We'll just go up here and then run this. This is going to give us a description for the actual tables themselves, and then it will give us another 5 once we rescan and add that, which will be easier than adding each individual column. All right, we're already getting outputs, and I'm going to switch to the view here. And we will go with whatever is the very first table once the agent is done answering. And the wording, it can be pretty wordy, and that's on the instructions. The instruction can say, don't be so wordy. Okay, airports. If we go to airports, all I have to do is add a description. Okay, and then carriers. Finally, we're going to get flights. And we're done there. If we do another rescan, we're going to have the descriptions and scan again. We're going to get, yep, we just got those 5 extra points. We're continue on maturing. Now we have 65. We were on 60, 55. You get the idea. We keep improving our Genie space and we're going to get better answers. Now we're going to add 3 SQL expressions, 4 calculated metrics. And the agent will do this for us. Now this one's interesting. We're going to see when we're adding these expressions, it's the UI is interesting for this, as you'll see in a little bit, because we're going to have to save it, click back, etc. There's a couple of toggles you're going to have to do, but that's okay. All right, we're almost done here. As soon as we're done, we're going to get the answer here. But we're going to go into expressions. And again, this is going to tell us exactly, if we didn't know exactly where to go, it would tell us exactly where to go. You can see the first one we're going to do is on-time performance rate, which is going to be a measure, and the source table columns used, we're going to copy this. And like I said, we have to click a couple things. We're going to have to click add measure, on-time performance rate. Then we're going to copy and paste that in. All right. And you can see that there is, oh, the syntax error. Yeah, of course, the syntax error is having the SQL expression, which we don't want that, which is fine. It's easy to remove that. And we want to add the instruction text here. I'm going to have to go back in here and click it and click on save. Then we're going to go to expression 2, and we're going to just not do the SQL piece there. We're going to copy the rest. And this is going to be a measure. Okay, and we're calling this one average delay when delayed. Paste that in. Okay. Perfect. And then we're going to save. And we are going to make sure that it can detect this table pretty well. Let's see. All right. We're going to skip that one, and we're going to go to the expression 3. So we're going to have expressions 3. And this is a dimension, distance, category, and then we're going to take out this. Okay, and it's saying unknown analysis. I'm going to say regenerate the SQL for expressions 2 through, I think it's 2 through 5. 2 through 5 as I'm getting the SQL error. And if you do get an error, just tell the agent, and the agent will reprocess and regenerate. And that's important, because if you're getting anything that isn't working, it's good to fix that real time. All right. And it's that simple. If you have a problem, if you see something, say something, as we just did, and let the agent solve for you real time. We're going to go back and we're going to re-add the measure, and we're going to do the average delay when delayed. And then we're going to copy that in. Darn. Okay, hold on. I have to copy this code here, and then measure. And now there's not enough context, and that's where I'm just making sure that it is able to provide the best answer quickly. Okay, we're going to add this as a measure. And then we're going to do average delay when delayed. I'm not going to miss this one. And then adding the instructions. Okay, we're done there. The third one, we're going to add that right now. And this is going to be another dimension. And then this is going to be distance category. And then we're going to finally save the instruction set here as well. And then the fourth one, significantly delayed. And this is going to be a filter. Is significantly delayed. And then if it's greater than 30 minutes. And then finally, flight month. And then this is going to be a dimension. Okay, now we added all 5 expressions. If I go back to my score and do rescan, we should get at least 10 points higher. Okay, we got 15, which is even better. And you can kind of go through and see exactly why that is we just added 3+ SQL expressions and then 5+ SQL expressions. The 3+ is 10, and then adding 5 or more is 5. So that's where we got our 15 from. If I look again, you can see we just continually increase our score. And we just got into the optimized space because we're greater than 75 of a score. And this gets me really excited because we are almost done. And we're going to get a really good score. And then the end users using the Genie Space are going to get the answers they're looking for. All right, we already have the 10 sample questions. Let's do 5 SQL expressions. I think we already, let's see, 5 trusted SQL. And I think that's where we are right now. All right, let's run this to see how many we have. I think we already have the SQL expressions, the 5 SQL expressions. Okay, now we're into the 5 trusted SQL queries. All right, and then we'll run this. Perfect. Yes, once we get 5 trusted SQL queries, and if we go into our Genie Space, we can see we don't have any SQL queries right now where we're having a question and then answering the question with SQL. And that's exactly what this is going to do. And this is going to give us a lot of score boost because you can see there's 3 trusted and then 5 trusted. So this is going to give us a really good boost. All right. And this is my favorite piece of Genie is where you ask a question and then provide the answer. Top carriers by flight count, and then exactly how you would answer that inside of Genie. And that's what we're going to do. And then in a second, this is going to paste. This is going to have the entire answer once it's completely answered in the other from the other window. And we'll be able to do that with our SQL. All right. Now I'm just going to have to take out the percent and click on save. We asked the first question is asked. Then we can get the busiest airport routes. Okay. And I like how this one doesn't give me a new window, so I have to I have to open it, close it, open it, close it. I can just do everything in one window. And then here's my third one, monthly flight trends. And then copy this. And again, this is how Genie is going to have the context. I was actually pasting the, I should be pasting the questions and not the display name. All right, that's my bad. Okay. 1, 2, and then what are the most common flights between airports? Okay, the third one is show me the flight volume. All right. And then how do carriers perform on short haul versus long haul flights? Again, all of this context is being provided from the agent. And then the fifth and final question is going to be answered in this long SQL. And that's it. And then we'll just rescan, and then we should get a higher score, of course. And we did. And we're so close to getting at 100. The last thing we have to do is the description. And that is just the final cell. Add a meaningful description explaining the purpose of this whole Genie space. And that is a great question, as all these have been, for the agent who has complete context on these tables. All right. And we will have that answer. And here is the purpose. And then here is the description. We can do a full version. We can have the short down version. And you know what? I'm going to live a little dangerously right now. I want to do the full version. And if the front end tells me I can't, so be it. But I want to go all out. All right. And then I just did the full version, and it seems like it saved the whole version. And then I just do one final rescan to give me that 100. And now my space is maxed out. And you can see we went from 95 to 100. And if I go back and see the highest scores, you can see I have flight analysis. This is the Genie space we created. And then this is the one that we came in with that was already 100. But all of these spaces, donor management Genie, if I look at this space, we can help every Genie space improve their answers. And a lot of people don't have a description on the tables or the columns, or they don't have 10 sample questions. Maybe that's too many, but that's the beauty of this being open source. Let's talk about it. Let's work together to figure out how to answer the questions the best for Genie, to provide that context that we so desperately need for AI to provide the best answers. And that's it. I hope this has been helpful to you. And I'm really excited to release this inside of GitHub as it's out right now. And I'm excited to create more data intelligent applications that anybody can use to better themselves. Well, that's all I have today. Bye for now, everybody.